What's going on, Wealth Builders? Today I've got my co-hosts Blake and Justin with me, and I want to get everyone's perspective on how they do time management and work-life balance. Because for me, I've talked a lot about it from my perspective as an entrepreneur, but these guys, Justin in particular, works for me, and I'm curious if what I'm saying actually translates to my employees. And then Blake, on the other hand, has worked in corporate America and other things, and I want to get all three philosophies, struggles, successes on how they balance family and work life. Because all of us have kids, all of us have wives, and I think we all do it in very different ways. So, Blake, what up?
What's up, brother? Yeah, man. Work-life balance. That's such a hot topic, isn't it? Right now with all industries. But for me, like, before I can even go into what my life looks like now, I've got to share like where I came from. So we came from minor league baseball. There is no work-life balance. No such thing. And so, I got used to that, but there's this scale of passion to balance that met all of the things on the side of passion, right? And then, I lived on a sailboat for a year. And, so that was a little different, man. It's like, the balance was unnecessary. All I was doing was playing music in like local venues and living on a sailboat.
Being a hippie.
Yeah, being a hippie.
Yep.
It's focused on my health and just wellness. And I think that's awesome too. And so now, a family brought me into that headspace of how can I be present with my family and also make a dent in providing for them and a wealthy future for them and all that. So,
and accomplishing your goals. I mean, you got goals in other things too. It's not just about your health, but your financial goals.
Exactly. And so it's this juggling act, as we all know. Right now for me, I have a remote position where I'm, managing a sales team, and it's got a lot of balance in the sense that I can go give my kids a hug in the middle of the day, but at the same time at 11 p.m. I'm still getting hit with, messages. And I think now in this culture of remote work, we're dealing with a lot of new problems that we've never had to deal with before.
Yeah.
And a lot of what we sell is like collaboration technology that lets people talk to each other at all hours. 24/7. An interesting idea though. Japan put a mandate on their companies to shut down email after 5 p.m.
That's all of Japan?
Yeah, I think so. Like, fact check me. I need to be fact checked at all times.
Yeah.
But I heard rumblings that in Japan, the previous company I worked with was a Japanese company, and that over there they were, because of like mental health issues, increasing suicide rates and all of that stuff.
I think Japan has the highest suicide rate in the world.
Yeah,
from what I remember.
I think you're right. Going back to that whole, like, they have an entire forest dedicated to just people that go and do that. Shout out to Logan Paul and that controversy.
Yeah, hold Logan Paul.
Yeah, not bad look. But anyways, yeah, the work-life balance has been addressed and then has come unraveled again with remote work. So now I'm always just working to get back to being present mentally.
Yeah, I think remote is definitely changing this because, a lot, like I would say half our workforce is remote. And it's great because the reason I love remote is, one, I need less office space than we needed before.
Right.
Two, you can get talent from all over the world being remote versus being only, hey, I can only have a local guy here. I can go get the best of the best people. And three, a lot of workers are more happy. They want to be remote. That's what they prefer to do. And so as long as somebody does their job, I don't mind it if they're remote, as long as like their job can be done remotely,
right,
like sales, right? So yeah, I think remote is creating what you said, new problems where people are now having a tough time separating work and home. And I know for me personally, I had this struggle during COVID because I hate working from home. I can't do it.
Yeah.
My kids are too loud. My dogs are too loud. I just don't want to do it. And
right,
it actually annoys Mindy because I'm literally on the phone nonstop doing Zooms, doing content. Well, I can't even film content at home. It's too loud. So it's just not good for me to work from home, period. But during COVID, when we did it, Mindy and I were always like, man, at first it was cool. She's like, this is so great having you home.
Around.
And then after a month, she
Get
was
out of
like,
here.
just go leave.
Yeah. Well,
Just,
they're stressed out because they feel like they have to keep the kids quiet, and it just
yeah,
changes the
it's
whole
more
dynamic.
work for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Justin, what's your take, dude?
I think for me, coming from a 9 to 5 to a situation like this, things were just different. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have I had more responsibility now at home and at work. Right. So work 9 to 5, which I was working armored truck, so it was a lot longer than just 9 to 5. It was like I was almost an escape from home, right? So like I was relieved of some of those responsibilities because I was working so many hours at the job. But now it's like it's more responsibility at the job, obviously running the social media team and running everything on the team. I get calls from everybody at any time of the day. But home life, because I'm home more now, I also get more responsibilities at home. So I had to find a balance between what makes everybody at home happy and what allows me to achieve every goal at work, but without sacrificing, too much on either side.
Yep.
And so, eventually I was able to find that, and I knew that, like, all right, you have to make a decision on when to turn work off, right? Just like I have to make a decision on when to make sure that if my phone's ringing all day and it's, my wife asking me questions about stuff that I don't really need to answer right now,
Yeah.
I kind of have to sacrifice that and be like, look, I just can't answer this right now. I got stuff I have to get done. And so, it's just, there's a balance there. It takes some time to figure out, but I was able to eventually figure it out. And when I did, everybody was happy in the situation. I was achieving everything I needed to at work, and she was happy with me being able to be present when I'm at home. Cause that was an even bigger thing. Like I was coming home, and not present. So,
Yeah.
it was more time at home, but it didn't feel like it to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
It's funny you bring up the point about getting text at work, because that's something I haven't considered, because Mindy doesn't text me
Nice.
during the work. Nice.
Nice. No, my wife and I have a text arrangement too. We don't text much at all.
But we never made it an arrangement. It was never like this spoken of thing, like do not like only hit me up if it's important.
Yeah.
It's just that was kind of always our relationship, where we're not even like phone people or super talkative people
Right.
anyway.
Same.
But she knows I'm like super busy all day, and so she's like, why am I going to bother him and distract him from what he has to do there? Because she knows that if she lets me just do what I need to do to the fullest at work, that's less stuff I would potentially need to do at home and everything else.
Right.
So
I think too, for in my circumstance particularly, Ashley's a new stay-at-home mom, right? So she's
bored.
Yeah, for sure.
She's new to being at home, and where all her communication is with a 2-year-old. And so, like, I understand why, those text messages come, but I think too, like, eventually she kind of, you get the swing of things. You get to, you get used to a situation and you adjust to it.
Yeah.
So, I had grace for that early on, but now it's kind of like, all right, what's going on. And we're able to do it, very well now, for sure.
Yeah. I have other employees and friends who I would see their wife would text them all the time. And I'm like, well, how do you have time to respond? Like, you can't wait till you get home. Like, what's going on here?
And what do y'all talk about when you get home? Like, for me, that's my favorite thing. It's like, I really want to be able to be present when I am at home. And if we've texted all day about whatever, I got nothing. Like, yeah, go back and reread that chain if you want to know what happened today. Like, I don't like that. So it also keeps, like, Erica is really similar with me in the sense that, her past relationships and my past relationships were with people that really demanded a lot of communication. So we both have sort of an unspoken agreement of like, like I love it that I don't have to, and I'm not obligated.
I know you love me.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't need to talk 24/7 to prove it.
Right. And as a entrepreneur and musician and holding a tech sales job and like all of these things, it's like, let's take one load off of my phone life, because I already have a hard time with being a phone guy anyway. You know this.
Yep.
I'm a bad phone guy. Not at work, but in my personal life. And it's for this very reason. Like, how awesome is it when you really get to connect with someone in person, have a conversation, catch up on things that you have been in the dark on for a long time? It's so fulfilling. I don't really like having a text conversation.
Yeah.
It feels like work.
Yeah. Anybody who texts me, it's not usually going to go well. Because I don't even try to
The
do
old
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
YA.
YA.
That's all you're getting.
I don't know why people like think that's so funny. That's like my go-to text.
It's already a short word, Ryan.
I
Like,
know.
Yeah.
You might want to shorten it to just a Y.
right?
A capital Y.
I'm with it. Maybe, or just not respond.
Yeah, there you go.
Actually, you know what I've been doing? I've been doing little thumbs up a lot now too.
Those work.
Yeah, that's even better than yeah.
Emojis as a language are like,
Yeah.
they're the universal language, man.
But yeah, if you guys text me, for anybody who knows me, I am very short with my responses. I'm just like, yep, no, or if it demands a response, I'm too, I don't want to say lazy to text, but I will send a voice message and say, this is what needs to happen, blah blah blah, let's go. And anyone who sends me a long text is immediately ignored.
Yeah.
Because I just can't read it. I'm like, dude, this is so long. I actually had a text just sent to me just now from a guy. He sent me some super long text, and then he sent me another super long text days later. He's like, dude, I just realized you probably got super offended by that previous text and all this stuff. And I'm like, no, it was super long. I didn't read it. Like,
less words would be great.
Yeah.
Got the guy going crazy because he's thinking something's wrong now.
Yeah, he offended me. And I'm like, for one, I'm like not offended by anything. And
well, yeah, dude, exactly. You're not offended by anything to a fault sometimes. I feel like, like, come on, Ryan, get offended. But no, like, I think that principle of being efficient with your communications, for me, it took a while to get on board with, because like you said, I'm kind of a hippie. I like having philosophical conversations, a musician, trying to adjust to like corporate structure.
Being a civilian.
Being a civ. But, you know, there's a lot of value in that. I never would have been able to navigate any kind of work-life balance without that, because it's like everything can't be a full-hearted, you know, open discussion. Like, you got to be efficient. And I think,
dude, this is my number one pet peeve with you. For those who don't listen, who don't know Blake, he literally, and this is part of the reason why I brought him on the podcast. I'm like, look, dude, I think the podcast can be your creative outlet to be you, because you're not allowed to be you in a lot of circumstances.
Yeah.
Like
in the gym.
In the gym, a workout will take 2 hours that should take 30 minutes if you let Blake talk and just, I don't even know what happens. You just
philosophize.
Yeah, just like you start talking about something. I'm like, dude, when was our last set? It's like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And the same thing happens at dinner too. You know, we'll be eating dinner and stuff, and I'll have cleaned my plate. I'll have like talked a good amount, and I'll look at Blake's plate. It's full. It hasn't even been touched, because he just cannot, like, he cannot eat and talk, which I guess bad manners wise you shouldn't, but he also can't listen and eat.
Yeah.
He has to sit there and listen without eating.
Yeah, man. All in, dude. And that's why we're
all in.
That's why balance has been a real, like, if I had to coach someone on something, figuring out how to balance their life would be something, because I'm like, you know, Tim Ferriss in his 4-Hour Workweek book.
Yep.
Or 4-Hour Body, where he's like, look, if any of this stuff works, it works because I'm genetically completely at a disadvantage. Like, that's how I am with time management and work-life balance and all that. Like, my personality is very disadvantaged to have any kind of balance in my life at all. So you're right, man. And I used to say it's because I chew a lot. Like, I won't swallow my food until it's absolute mush. But,
no, that's not.
But that ain't it.
No, that ain't.
That was just my young excuse of like, why is my plate full still? Because it just happens, man. You get lost into a conversation, and that's part of why this whole entrepreneurship notion is so appealing to people, because I think a lot of people feel this way. Like, you're being pulled in every direction in survival mode in life, whether it's your company or your family or your, you know, any responsibilities that you have. And sometimes you just feel out of control, and what people want at their core is to just feed their spirit a little bit with some genuine interaction and talking about things that actually matter to them, and connecting with people. And so I guess, like, part of that is I love connecting with people, and I'll do that before I'll even eat.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I hear you. It's it's hard to say it's a bad trait.
But it is.
It's just an annoying trait.
But it is, especially at a restaurant. It's a bad trait.
When I'm on the receiving end constantly.
Yeah.
So today's podcast is brought to you by Future Flipper. So Future Flipper is a real estate education company that I founded back in 2018. And since then, we have helped thousands of students all across the country learn how to invest in real estate. And it doesn't matter whether you're trying to learn how to flip houses, whether you're looking to wholesale or build your rental portfolio. We've helped everyone in all the different circumstances. This even includes people who have never done a real estate deal. We've helped beginners get their very first deal. We helped other people who have already done some deals scale to doing multiple deals a month. And we've even helped people get to my level, people to scale their business to doing over 100 deals a year, learning to become an owner of the company and not be involved in the day-to-day, and learn how to delegate and hire employees at the highest level. So regardless of what boat you are in, we can help you out at Future Flipper. We've got amazing events. We've got amazing coaches. I coach directly in Future Flipper, and I would love to help you get to the next level. So all that being said, if you are interested in getting a free consultation call, a free strategy call to see what it's going to take to help you get to the next level, go to futureflipper.com and you can book a call with my team. Once again, check out futureflipper.com to book a call. So everyone knows I'm a huge advocate of investing in real estate, and for a lot of people that means building their own real estate investing company. But there's a certain set of people where that doesn't make sense. If you already have a very successful business, your time is actually better spent building out that current business versus trying to start a real estate business from scratch. And what you should be doing instead is investing your money in a real estate fund like Pineda Capital. It's pretty simple how it works. At Pineda Capital, we find the best deals in commercial real estate all over the country. We use my network, my marketing tactics, and we locate what we think has a great opportunity for upside through value add, such as getting them leased up and stabilized, such as, doing a lot of renovations, or we just bought a deal that was severely under market value and we got a great deal. No matter what, though, it's easier for many accredited investors to just invest with us and let them focus on their own business versus having to go fix them up, get it stabilized, and increase the value over time. So if you are in that boat and you're thinking about, hey, you know what? I want to be more passive on my real estate investments. I don't want to be doing all the dirty work and finding deals. I don't even know maybe what a great deal looks like. Well, it's probably better for you to just give your money to the experts and let us do it at Pineda Capital. So if that sounds like you, it's pretty simple. You can go to pinedacapital.com and apply for a free consultation call for our team. They'll explain to you exactly how it works, how we operate, and how we can get you in on our next deal today. And let me lastly say that even if you're in the real estate space right now and you're an accredited investor, it's still a great opportunity to invest with us because we get access to deals that other people don't. So if you're looking to get into great deals, or you actually even want to work with us on a deal and send us one to partner on, still go to pinedacapital.com as well. Apply for a call with our team, and let's go make some money together real estate investing. But to draw it back, this is also something you like to do. Take it out. And
to
then
bring it back
back in. So to bring it back into, this whole work-life balance thing, we're talking from the perspective of, hey, we're at work, we're trying to get our job done and do it with excellence. And I think we've all got it figured out now, at least with our spouses, of, hey, when we're at work, we want to be fully present at work. Just like when we're at home, we're striving to be fully present at home. I don't know about you guys, but for me, to be fully present at home is harder than it is to be fully present at work. When I'm at work, I'm fully present. I'm not thinking about what my kids or Mindy's doing, and they do a great job of allowing me to go do what I do with excellence. But when I get home, I'm not as good at reciprocating.
Yeah, dude. Well, what hasn't helped yet? Your problem is the crypto market.
Oh my gosh, dude.
It don't shut off. That's probably a pretty eye-opening thing to be founder of a crypto project, because man, the NASDAQ shuts off at 5 for a reason. And
I was saying that for those who don't know that, I launched Tykes and it's been a massive success, but the problem with Tykes is it trades 24/7 and people are chatting and doing things 24/7. Whereas my other businesses and everything else, like, hey, we leave, we're cool. All right, tight. And I was just joking, like, I get why the stock market closes on the weekends. It closes at whenever, I don't even know when it closes, but It closes.
Yeah, 5 Eastern, New York.
5 Eastern,
Yeah.
it's done. And crypto is not like that at all. I've aged about a year in, the last few weeks of launching Tykes.
Gray's gonna be your next hair color, bro.
It's already there.
But yeah, man, with being at home being harder, more difficult, it takes so much more energy to be present at home, especially when you have the kids running around and you have, you're an entrepreneur, so your mind's going 24/7.
Yeah.
You are fully invested in the next idea, the next innovation. How are we going to essentially help people using what we've built already and what we stand to build in the future? And so, like, that's a heavy responsibility, man, once you're taking care of people and once your children, your wife, your employees are essentially under your care.
Stewardship.
Yeah, your stewardship. Yeah, like,
yeah,
you're a steward of their day-to-day, their pay, their quality of life in a way. And so that makes it difficult to turn off, because you're not just turning off work, you're turning off all of that.
Yeah.
To be present with your kids and your family.
Right.
So it's worth it, but it's hard.
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, I guess I'm always the optimist, and so I don't think about it in the way of like, man, I got all this responsibility. I need to be innovating. I need to make sure that my employees and our customers and everyone are taken care of. Like, I think that stuff just is already natural, of like, that's a given. I know I need to do that. The other stuff is more so like, man, my inner desire to just keep getting better and be great. And what can I do? Knowing I can actually do it, right? When I get an idea that I think is great, I always have this inner conflict, because I'm like, oh man, this is like a really good idea. People would kill for these kinds of ideas.
Right.
And then my inner conflict is like, but do I really need to do this? Like, I already got enough going on, and we got all these things already going. And then I'm like, but I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it ends up usually happening. But 99% of the stuff I end up filtering out, where I'm like, you know what? I'm just not even like, this could make money, this could be cool, but I'm not passionate about doing this.
Right.
At least right now.
Yeah.
At this current point in my life.
Dude, something that you said that helped me a lot with just general direction in my life. It was a 3-part Venn diagram kind of scenario. Would you talk about that for a second? Because I don't remember exactly how you put it, but man, it made a big difference for my life.
Yeah. So this actually comes from a book called Good to Great by Jim Collins, and it's called the Hedgehog Concept. And so basically you create these 3 circles. I'll try to illustrate this through words for those listening. You create 3 circles that look like a triangle, right? So you got 1 circle on top, 2 on the bottom. And those circles intersect at certain places. And the goal is that if you can get all 3 circles to intersect, you're living in like the good life. Okay. So here's what the 3 circles represent. Number 1 is, what is like basically your income generating skill? Can this thing actually make money and, provide for me and my family? That's number 1, the money side. Number 2 is the passion side. Am I passionate about this? Does this get me going every single morning? Could I see myself doing this the rest of my life, right? Number 3 is, am I world class at this? Am I that good that, people would pay me to go learn this or have me do this for them? Am I that good where I can go to the top of markets or be one of the, industry leaders? And being an industry leader doesn't mean you got to be Google or Apple, right? It could be the industry leader in your community, right? But you've got to be able to gain some kind of market share for it to work, right? So basically what you do is you figure out, hey, what ideas do I have that fit all 3 of these circles? And so you start doing the exercise. You go fill it in the circle and you say, okay, what am I passionate about? And if I was to look at you, Blake, I would say, okay, I'm passionate about music. I'm passionate about, what else are you passionate about? Health and fitness, talking, all those things, people. Right?
Yeah.
Then you say, okay, what am I world class at? Okay, well, I'm world class at, I'm really good at sales. I run a big sales department for tech. I'm really good at baseball. I'm really good at music. I'm really good at, a number of things, working out, training people, all that stuff. Then you look at the last piece. What can actually drive my financial engine, right? And so you say, well, I'm good at sales. That definitely can make money. Does music drive my financial engine? As of today, no.
Mm.
You know, it's not going to make me what I want to make as of today.
Right.
If I were to quit everything, go full time at it.
Totally.
And so you start thinking, what could drive my financial engine? It's like, well, mainly at this point for you anyways, it's sales related jobs and careers as of today. So from there you look at, okay, where do I have at least 2 of these, hopefully 3? And you start to figure out what it is you're really good at, what you enjoy doing, and what can actually make you a lot of money. Because unfortunately for most people, they're only living in one circle, and that circle is what can make them money.
Right.
And so they do a job they hate because they have no option.
Yep.
They got to make money, right? If you're so fortunate enough, you might be doing a job that makes you money and that you're passionate about. So you're like, oh, you know what? I can do this job, and I love playing music, and I can make money doing this, right? Or you're on the other side, like you're in Wall Street, where you make good money and you do it because you're really good at it. You're a skilled stock trader, but you know, you ain't passionate about it.
It's hollow, yeah.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, it makes money and I'm good, but whatever.
Right.
So the big key is when you have all 3 going inside. And so like when I think about that, I go, okay, you know, one of my favorite businesses is, you know, with Future Flipper, teaching people how to invest in real estate.
Right.
And so I think, okay, can this make me a lot of money? Definitely. Do I enjoy doing this? Definitely. Am I really good at it? Definitely. And that's why it's so successful, because all 3.
Right. Well, and that's like if you really break down like our psychology as people, you need all 3 for it to be sustainable. Otherwise, it's like it's a non-renewable resource, because you only have so much hustle in you over the course of your life. You know, like we're in our 30s now, but when you're 50, you're going to need to do something that's fulfilling for you.
Well, like even for a guy like you, you're able to have the balance to kind of what we're talking about because of hobbies. So
Definitely.
You can make great money in sales and you're really good at it. But then on the side, you can go play music, you can go play pickleball, you can have these hobbies that you're actually passionate about. You can go play golf and do that stuff.
Right.
So that's what most people do, is they have things they're passionate about. It usually doesn't make them money. They may not even be good at it.
Yeah.
but they love it.
Right. Well, and at the end of the day too, like back to the topic of work-life balance, when you do introduce a family, like a wife and children, into that puzzle, it definitely, what a lot of people struggle with, and a lot of folks that I've spoken with about just marriage as a whole and everything, is the piece of the puzzle that can be sacrificed. The only piece that can be is the hobbies.
Right.
And so for me, that was a big part of work-life balance. Like, how do we have hobbies still and still walk through life in a way that I'm not?
Or you just, like we're talking about, you monetize your hobbies.
Yeah, man.
And
yeah.
so, like, look, I have golf with Ryan, which is the funniest hobby thing. Like I make multiple 6 figures a year golfing. Like I'm legit a professional golfer.
A pro.
I get paid to do it. I'm a pro.
Man.
Like
you've made more money in golf than you ever did in baseball.
Oh, in 1 week.
In 1 week.
I'm dead serious.
And you were
in 1 week. I made more money playing golf than I did in baseball.
Yep.
I held a golf mastermind, 10 people, $10,000. That was $100,000 in it was 2 days.
Yeah.
And in baseball, I played 8 years.
Yeah. MLB ain't got nothing on.
But you know, it goes back to baseball. Even though I was, so I mean, here was the deal with baseball. If you look at my career, I was world class at it. You know, being a professional is you're world class, regardless, minor leagues, big leagues, whatever. I was passionate about it. I love baseball. I still do to this day. But it was not an income generator.
Right.
I was in the minor leagues making $1,200, and the goal was, hey, if I get to the bigs, then cool, it's an income generator, and I'm hitting all 3. But I never got there.
Right. And that's the story for a lot of us, man, obviously. And, you know, from that, the blessing of that is that you learned what it was like to really buy into something that you're passionate about.
For no money.
For no money. And a lot of people out there, in my experience, it's sad because they didn't have that experience of being able to just pursue something they were really passionate about. So they take, like the last podcast we talked about, college and that whole bubble that's happening.
Yeah.
They take the standard route, and before you know it, like you're in a position that maybe it does fulfill your financial needs and maybe you are good at it.
Right.
But the passion piece of that, not necessarily even passion, but the fulfillment, like on a human level, gets overlooked a lot of the time. And so for you, man, like I think we were in the hot tub, or you call it a spa. Ryan calls hot tubs spas.
Yep.
For everyone.
Yep. It's a spa.
It's a spa. It's a hot tub. So yeah, let us know in the comments, by the
jacuzzi.
way, is it a hot tub or is it a spa?
I think they're all the same. Hot tub, spa, jacuzzi.
A jacuzzi. I think the spa is where you go to get like massage and a
Yeah, that's also the spa. This is a
Anywhere where there's a warm tub, it's the spa. Right?
yeah, that's the spa. My tub in my house is the spa. You know, no, legit in the house I'm building. It's a legit spa.
Yeah, yeah, that's different. That's a real spa.
Yeah, that is a full service spa.
Yeah. But that's where we were when you told me about the what would you call it, the hedgehog diagram,
hedgehog concept.
Yeah, the hedgehog concept. And man, it made a big difference because I was able to reflect, and I still do now reflect back on what makes sense. And I've begun to monetize the music stuff more. And next thing you know, we're about to monetize pickleball. Ryan's building the pickleball court, and we're gonna start a premier league.
It's funny. The guy who is building my court, he built my basketball court about 3 months ago, or not 3 months ago, 3 years ago, at my current house. And you know, he runs one of pretty much the only place that builds them in Las Vegas. They're a franchise, and you know, he did it. It was cool. And then he started following me as my fame kind of grew on social media. And he had texted me out of the blue saying like, hey, do you do mentorship with, you know, normal business owners, not just real estate and stuff? And knowing me, I didn't text back. I forgot. And
you didn't even get a yeah?
He didn't get a yeah. Honestly, I just missed it. Like I get so many texts, I miss them. And he ended up, I ended up reaching out to him because, you know, we're getting ready to go into our new house. And I'm like, oh crap, we need to get a court. And so I'm thinking I'm gonna get a basketball court again. And I text him back, and I realized I missed his text.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I text him back, and we meet at the house, and you know, we start to talk. I'm like, how's business been since COVID and all this stuff? Like, how's courts going? And you know, he starts telling me about how pickleball's on the rise.
Yeah.
Everybody is doing pickleball courts instead of basketball. And I'm like, pickleball? All my people in Bible study are playing pickleball. You guys always play after every Wednesday night. And I'm like, you know, I hear it's cool, but I've never played. And then he's like, dude, it's the best sport ever. You got to do it. And I go, you know what? Instead of me just saying I'm going to go try it, this is how I do everything in life. I go, just build the pickleball court in my house. I will take everyone's word for it.
Yeah.
If you're telling me it's legit, they're all playing, I'm sure it's a fun sport. And he's like, all right, done. So yeah, that's how I got a pickleball court.
Wow, man. Yeah, that's kind of how I moved out to Vegas. That's why I get it, dude. People being around you, you just kind of, it's contagious. You're like, okay, you're just going to jump for stuff. You know, it feels right. Let's jump.
Let's do it, baby.
Why wait, man?
Yeah, I don't need to analyze it.
Yeah.
You say pickleball's good? I believe you.
I believe you. And how did you feel about it? You played for the first time, right, last week with us?
Yeah, I did play. It was fun. I mean, I think it's a great sport. I also think that the court makes a lot of sense because you could still put a basketball hoop. You can, the kids can, it's a better court for the kids to like run around and ride their bikes and all that stuff.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. But
I got a question too, since you brought up the kids right just now. When you all are done with work at home, does it ever feel like work starts over when the kids come to you?
Because playing with them is a whole different job.
It's a harder job than what I'm doing.
Oh yeah, the kids are way harder than
because you can't match their energy. Like it's like unbelievable energy. And I did find though, and like this is just advice to anybody that's in a similar situation that is working for an entrepreneur. If you like the entrepreneur, get your kids, if they're old enough, used to who they are, right? So I knew to bring, I got a 5-year-old named Noah. I knew to bring him around Ryan so that he got used to seeing me at home when I'm working from home or when I'm doing different events. I can go say, I'm getting ready to be with Ryan. We're getting ready to go film a lot of cool cars. And he goes crazy.
Yeah.
And now it's not the, oh, I'm going to miss you, or I'm sad you leaving, or I'm mad that you're working on it. I got the kid now making YouTube videos, you know what I mean? Because he's seeing the impact that it's having on me. And now I can kind of share that same impact. But my question was just about how it feels after you've had maybe like a tough day, and now you got to go home and kind of shut that off to start over again.
Yeah.
With the kid.
So it's funny bringing up Noah because he's a character. He'll come to the office sometimes and he's like, he'll always, you tell me the stories. He's like saying like, I'm gonna go tell Ryan this and that and that, because he gets all hyped up about the cars and all these things. And I'll be like, no, what's up, man? And then he doesn't say anything.
Completely just he's crazy shy, but he's so confident when he's not in the room.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna tell Ryan this. Do you think, what did he ask the other? He's like, do you think Ryan would let me drive his Porsche?
Yeah.
He's like, how old is he?
He's 5.
5.
Oh man.
Yeah.
How many kids do you have, Justin?
So I have 4. I have 2.
I was like, wait,
what?
Wait a second. Your wife's out there somewhere like, what?
I was switching to channel 4, but I have 2. I have Noah as a 5-year-old, and I have Nathan, who will be 2 in November. So
Yeah,
Nice.
Blake has 3. Blake has 3 boys.
Yep.
Young.
4, 2, and 8 months.
Yep. And
Yep.
so, I have James and Olivia, 3 and 2. So all of us our kids are all the same
about
age.
the same age, yeah.
And we're all 33-ish. So yeah, we're all at similar points of life. We've all just taken different ways to get to the points in life that we're at. And I guess for me, the hard part becomes, it sounds to me anyways, like we've all got a pretty good grasp on the work side of things. Our families understand what we need to do at work. You got your kids buying in with Noah, that they're not sad that dad's leaving. They're actually like, oh, that's cool. Like, I wish I was there with you. Like, they're bought in.
Our 2-year-old threw a huge fit on my way here. Like, so I don't
He's
have
not
it figured
bought
out. He ain't bought in. No. I'm like, I'm going to see Ryan. He's like, I don't care, man. You need to be here on the couch with me right now. And so that's a constant work in progress right there.
Yeah. No, I trust me. Yeah. There are days when I leave and I'm like, I need to get out of here as fast as possible.
Yeah. And I feel like a horrible person leaving.
Yeah.
Stiff, giving him the Heisman as I close the door in his face.
Yeah.
Like, that's his core memory of dad.
Yeah. My dad always gave me the Heisman. But regardless of that, I mean, I think we're all doing a pretty decent job of explaining to the kids and what it is we do, and that part's pretty good. I would say, back to my biggest struggle is being at home. And to your point, Blake, it's not like Mindy and I talk about all these things that are happening throughout the day. We get home, and our goal is to have dinner at 5:30. So I leave the office at 5. Get there at 5:30. We just got a chef, which is amazing, and so he always makes a crazy dinner, and it's a great time for us as a family. And one thing I want to do a better job at is just like literally moving my phone. And it's like all these temptations end up always happening to give me my phone back, because I'll put my phone away and then we'll make the sick dinner. I'm like, oh crap. Like, I don't know why, but the world needs to see this. So I need to post this dinner on Instagram. Right. And then, right or wrong, I post it, and then my phone's now with me. And then what happens is I feel it vibrate. And then I'm like, oh crap, who's texting me now? And then, it just goes down this rabbit hole, whereas I should just put the phone away. It was in, I think, 2020, one of my goals with, like, basically, for anyone listening, I should plug this way more, but if you go to wealthyway.com, you can download our Wealthy Way planner. And so within the planner, there are basically 3 habits that we tell people, hey, put 3 daily habits that you want to do every single day, period. So I could tell you my 3 habits right now in 2022 are: number 1, eat no sweets that day.
Nice.
I have such a bad sweet tooth that I track. I'm like, did I eat sweets yesterday? And my percentage isn't very good. 2 is, did I practice golf that day? So this year I was like, I want to get really good at golf. I got to practice every day, some way or another, right? And then 3 was, I wanted to tell Mindy I love her every day, because sometimes you just forget, you just don't do it. And so if I look at that every day on my planner, it reminds me like, oh crap, I need to send her a text. I need to tell her this. And so it's literally the planner making me be accountable to these things. Yeah. Right. But in 2020, one of my daily habits was no phone for an hour. And so I would put my phone wherever for an hour, can't touch it. I don't care what happens, or if I got the best dinner I need to put on Instagram. Once the phone is gone, it's gone. Yeah. And I think that's like a pretty cool discipline that people can start doing at night.
Big time, man. They've got the phone drawer. Like, that's something that
lock it up.
We
that's a good product.
It is. Yeah. We've tried the phone drawer from time to time.
No, like I'm saying let's invent a safe that has a timer on it.
Well, check this out. That's a good idea.
Okay.
But I think this is a great idea, and it's already there.
Okay.
So remember the days of the old, all you had was your landline with an answering machine.
Yep.
The piece of that of like, oh, I don't have to check my phone all the time, all day. So they've got this device. I can't remember what it's called. Somebody look it up in the comments. But it basically sits in a place in your home. You can plug your phones into it. So say you and your wife both want to plug your phones into this device, and if you get calls or texts, it will ring out like for the house from a drawer that's locked away. So you don't have your phone in your pocket, but you're still not going to miss a big call or something, and you can each choose your own ring. So that's something that like we haven't purchased that yet, but recently we looked into it because
I don't see how that'd benefit me. If I hear all the rings and texts, it's gonna drive
I'm
me
gonna go
crazy.
get it. Yeah, that's gonna be crazy.
I think for me the benefit would be getting my phone in a place that was far away, out of reach, not looking at the screen, and having the opportunity to, like, if I wanted to answer the phone call, it's probably not notifying you of texts and stuff. If I want to answer a phone call, I can do it like the old days.
Yeah, I don't agree with that, because in the old days you didn't get 1,000 text messages a day, and yeah, people could call you.
Yeah, but that's the new way to be private, I think. Is
the,
like,
the
hey,
way
I
to be
only do
private
phone calls.
is to literally throw your phone, and just not have any
Yep.
access.
I know, that's the dream.
But you can do it. I just told you. You get a safe and you put a timer on it, and it's like, this is the 2-hour phone safe. It's stuck.
Yeah.
You can't break in.
Right. Yeah, I love that. I think that's a good idea, because I try to do that on my phone with like a shutdown, like put it on sleep mode so I don't get notifications.
Yeah, do not disturb doesn't work.
Dude, your Achilles heel being like taking pictures of stuff and like being active on social media, as far as like content that you're putting out. My Achilles heel is when I need to look something up that I'm curious about, like a little fun fact.
You
I'm
start
like,
scrolling for hours.
I'll grab it, and yeah, like when I try to shut my phone down, a question always happens. Like the other day, my kid's like, "Where do sandwiches come from?" And I'm like, "Well, technically, the bread is from wheat, and we can figure that out." It was an egg sandwich with cheese, and then so I'm like, "Yeah, the egg comes from a chicken, and the cheese comes from milk." And he's like, "Where do those things come from?" And I'm like, I'm gonna have to show him. And so I was trying to like be present with him and hang out with him, and end up watching freaking YouTube videos on our phone of wheat being processed, and milk and egg hatcheries and like all this kind of stuff. So
Dude, that's funny.
yeah, a part of me is like, granted, like we don't want our kids to be dependent on technology. I want them to start developing a relationship with technology that is educational, because that's not what they're going to get if left to their own devices. So we show our kids a lot of educational videos, like on the phones and on YouTube. And
right.
If I ever find myself on my phone and my kids are competing for my attention, I'll usually like give them the phone. And what I want to always do is like prove to them that the phone's not special. It's not something that,
oh, you want this? Have it. It's not a big deal.
Take it, dude. Like, I don't need this thing. And sometimes it breaks my heart. We'll be hanging out and they'll bring me my phone. They'll like go get it from wherever they find it and bring it to me. Here, Dad. And I'm like, oh, I'll keep it, man. Like, I don't need that thing. Like, we're hanging out.
Yeah.
So there's like little ways that I try to combat that, but still, dude, just like my kid crying when I came here today, like inevitably as dads, sometimes you're just going to feel like the scum of the earth.
Yeah.
When you have to get stuff done and ignore your kids. And
yeah,
it helps to know that like we all go through that.
Recently at one of my events, Heather Blankenship, who's a very big real estate investor, came up to me and said, Ryan, this event was absolutely amazing. The community you've built is amazing, but I have one criticism. There's not a lot of women here. And I said, Heather, I wish that there was more women here. I just don't know how to solve the problem. And this is a problem that I've seen across any event I've ever gone to. The majority of them are all very male dominated in real estate, business, and entrepreneurship. And she said, I know, I struggle with the same problem as a woman who's in real estate. Like, I'm always around guys. There's not a lot of women that, I can really build relationships with or mastermind with. What can we do? And I said, well, there's not really many solutions out there. We should probably start the solution together if this is something you're passionate about. And obviously she was, and I am as well. And so this led to us starting a mastermind for women called Wealthy Woman. And at Wealthy Woman, it is for women who are in entrepreneurship. It is for spouses of entrepreneurs like my wife, Mindy. And this is a place where they can get together and grow in their relationships, grow in their business, support one another, go on retreats, and all the cool things that don't currently exist today for women in the space. And so I'm really excited about it. And it's growing like absolute wildfire. Heather is an amazing leader and CEO. And if you're listening to this as a woman, or if you are a man and your wife is looking for some type of fellowship with other women in the space, Wealthy Woman is a great spot for you or for them. So if you want to have a free call with our team and see if it's a good fit, go to wealthywoman.io. We can definitely help you out. We would love to have you in the mastermind. Once again, that's wealthywoman.io. One of my biggest problems with real estate brokerages is that they don't teach the things that are required for realtors and real estate agents to become truly wealthy. They want to teach people how to just do more transactions because that's what makes the brokerage money. Well, as we know, the real way to gain wealth is by investing in real estate. It's by doing your taxes properly. And even if you want to grow the agent side of your business, you're going to have to do things differently in today's world. You're going to have to be really good at social media. You're going to have to market differently. You're going to have to work on your sales game. A lot of those things are going to factor in whether you become wealthy in the long run. And I just realized that over time, brokerages just are not fully equipped to handle all those different verticals. And so that's why I created Wealthy Agent. Wealthy Agent is a platform to teach real estate agents how to become truly wealthy, how to grow their real estate agent business, how to invest properly, how to do their taxes, how to grow on social media to get more leads for free. And so if you are an agent and you are looking to grow that side of your business, go to wealthyagent.io. We would love to chat with you and see if you're a good fit for the program. We are building a community all across the country that you can tap into. So go to wealthyagent.io to book a call today. Yeah, no, 1,000%. I think, for me, like Justin was saying earlier, with him and Ashley had to work through it on like, hey, here's, what we need to do to be successful, not just for our relationship, but for our finances and for our mental health and everything else too. Mm-hmm. And you set kind of the ground rules. And so, I've been very public about the ground rules that essentially Mindy has set for me of like, hey, 10 to 5 weekdays, do whatever you want. You want to go fly to California today and go knock out a video? You want to go golf? Whatever. It's on you.
Yep.
But any times before or after that, you're mine. And I think it's healthy. I think it's healthy to have boundaries and these, I guess, constraints too, because what a lot of entrepreneurs do is they don't have constraints. And so they become inefficient as well. Because for me, if I look at it, I'm like, well, I got these 30 hours a week. I can pretty much do whatever I want. Got my hall pass at work. So what am I going to do? And I'm like, well, I want to be a really good golfer and have fun doing that. That takes a whole day in itself. Crap, I only have 4 days now. All right, what am I going to do for these 4 days? And I start having to get really strategic of like, okay, here's what I can do for this business. Here's what I can do for that. Here's the content I got to film. All right, cool. Okay, I want to launch this new business. That's what I got to do. And, it makes you think differently. It's something that most entrepreneurs actually need to do for themselves, not because of the benefits of hanging out with your family are enormous. They are, but it's going to make you a better entrepreneur putting these limits.
Big time. Well, and every entrepreneur that I've met, at least, comes from a place of seeking freedom. Like, you don't want to work for somebody else. You don't want to have to really answer to someone else's will for your endeavors and everything like that. So it starts off as like, okay, we're seeking freedom. I'm not working for anybody. We're going to, build our own business, make our own money. And freedom without structure, what I've learned, because this about me, like I'm a big freedom seeker, like back to the boat days kind of thing. It's like, give me freedom and I'll be a happy guy. That's my fulfillment.
Right.
love language. But at the same time, without the structure, freedom can feel like its own prison, because you're like, man. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs are in that position where maybe they're already successful, they're working for themselves, and they can schedule whatever the heck they want. And that's a daunting thing to not give yourself any kind of structure in your life. So for me, like that Wealthy Way planner that you mentioned has been helpful. But another thing that's cool that people can do that we've done is use a Google Calendar and share it with your wife or your significant other. And so that when you do have things to plan, you just throw it on the calendar and then everyone's aware of it and there is no scheduling conflict. Because I'm not the most social outside of like what you see in me, because I don't really like to give that time away to things that aren't going to really add back, as you know, once you have the children and the family and your responsibilities.
Well, and that's part of the reason why too, like, you guys have played pickleball a lot, like every Wednesday, and you guys like, you gonna go? I'm like, no, because I mean, I've already said that that's my time with my family,
right?
And so it's not fair to them that I go and play pickleball, and I just also want to see them,
right?
I would enjoy both. I would enjoy hanging out with my family or playing pickleball, right? But at the same time, if I'm indifferent either way, and one's gonna be pissed,
you err on the side of the family every time.
Yeah. If I piss you guys off, so what?
So what, man?
Yeah.
Just letting us get better at pickleball is fine.
Yeah. So I got to give you guys time to hone your skills anyway. Before, there's pickleball with Ryan as a product.
And dude, back to the, yeah, you're right. Back to the, oh yeah, we do need to put that together. Pickleball at Ryan, they get to go to your house. That might be
I forgot. I do have, dude. Well, actually, the fact that the pickleball court's now at my house can definitely be a product.
Big time, dude.
Yeah.
Big time. It's like the VIP experience.
Yeah. Ryan's custom pickleball court.
But back to like the original topic of our different careers and our different lifestyles and our different pasts, and the idea of managing your work-life balance from the perspective of how do you schedule your 40-hour work week, right, or whatever it is, 10 to 5 every day. For an entrepreneur, one of the main benefits of that is like you get control over that time. Whereas in corporate, like you have a degree of control, but at the same time, like my wife and I, like Erica and I's arrangement is more so that, okay, the 40 hours a week that I'm working, or 45 that I'm working for my company, that's kind of time that I don't have control of and you don't have control of. And so we then take the time outside of that and break it up. And that's why that Google Calendar is helpful. But, you know,
well, but let me say this. So I've actually had this argument with people because they say, well, Ryan, it's easy for you to say because you create your own schedule, right? You're the boss. And on one hand, I'm like, that is true. And, I also run a bunch of companies too. So if I can do it, anybody can do it, right? But number two is I chose the life that I chose for me. I chose to be an entrepreneur and do the things I've done. I've chosen to take the risk. I've chosen to spend the money, invest in people, bet on myself. Like I've chosen to do all those things. And you have the choice as well.
Right.
You could be an entrepreneur. There's nothing stopping you. There's no rule against you being an entrepreneur.
Totally.
And so like and this is not specifically for you, Blake, but this is for anyone. It's like, nobody's making you work your 9 to 5, right? Like you chose it. And granted, you may feel like you don't have a choice because you've got to provide for your family, but there's always a choice.
Well, you've chosen to not have a choice.
Yeah. You could find another job.
Right.
You could better your skills in your free time to go get a different job. You could go start your own side hustle, your own business. Nobody's making you do anything.
Right.
And so I guess for me, if you're okay with how many hours you work and your family is fine with it, and you guys are okay with what you make, then great. You're living the life. That's what I'm at right now. Like my family is very fine with the amount of hours I work today. I'm fine with it. We like the life we live.
Right.
They would not be fine with if I chose to work 70 hours a week, nor would I want to even do it, period. But, if you and Erica are cool with the hours that corporate forces you to work, because that's what's required for your job, and you guys are cool with the money that it pays and the lifestyle it brings, That's perfect.
Right.
That's the dream.
Totally. And then you have a different set of you have a different structure to your life, but it's still a choice that you're making, exactly like you said. And so going back to the hedgehog concept, recently I did make a move from the company I was working for before to a new company that's a little smaller with, you know, a lot more control over what I'm building and upside, and a little more intimate of an experience. So that's been a big boost on the fulfillment section of that whole diagram. But it all comes down to expectations from yourself. Like, what do you expect of yourself?
Right.
What's the best version of yourself in your mind? And is that person spending, you know, most of their time getting to know their children and developing relationships with their kids and taking care of, you know, the things that matter on that side of the house? Or is that person, you know, generating massive wealth, even if you do have to
I guess
sacrifice your time?
the thing I hate is when people have this whole deal of like, I don't have any control or say over like my circumstances, or, you know, I was born into this type of family. I was born with this skin color. I was born with, you know, this disadvantage physically or mentally or whatever. And I'm like, yep, we're all born with pros and cons.
Yeah.
So you decide what you want to do with the talents and the gifts and the circumstance you've been put in, because nobody's making you stay in the same circumstance.
Definitely. The idea that life is fair is a total lie. Like that's something that I think that was fed, you know, to everyone from a young age, like in the sense that we're not all starting from the same spot. We're not all in the same spot, but we all have the same, well, at least here in America, we all have the same freedom to choose what we do with our time and energy in our life.
Mm-hmm.
And that disqualifies any plea of like victimhood or what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, well, life's just not fair, period.
Yeah, right.
Right.
But to acknowledge that and be like, okay, yeah, it's not fair.
Yeah, there's nothing. I've yet to see one fair thing in life, period.
No.
There's no business that's fair. There's, you know, the systems that we live in are not fair. The, you know, who gets what over somebody else is not fair.
And fairness at its core, like forced fairness, is tyrannical. Like, who wants to live in a world where no matter what you do and what decisions you make, like, you're set into the same life path and set of experiences that everyone else is?
Right.
Like, that's what's cool about life, is that it's this cool, unpredictable adventure. And, you know, some people, especially like with your courses and everything, the 9 to 5 can be a downer to that adventure of life. But if you find the right place, it can also be a nice complement to it, where, you know, you have the right amount of uncertainty in your day, yet stability, and you get to enjoy life. But yeah, man, I totally agree with you. That's probably the thing that holds the most people back of all of the variables I've seen, is admitting that you have, you know, some sort of cop out in the victimhood sense, and letting that kind of discount your ability to choose what's next for yourself. Because like, how quickly for you did you go from flipping well, not even that, because flipping couches from where you were before that was actually a success.
Right.
How quickly did you go from, you know, minor leaguer that, you know, didn't make it, to I'm in control of my life and I'm making my path my own?
Yeah, I think I was always, I mean, even as a minor leaguer, I felt like I was always in control of my life, you know, and even in the minor leagues, you know, people would always talk about, oh, well, it's not fair because I'm a low round draft pick.
Yeah.
This guy got a bunch of money and he doesn't deserve to be playing over me, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, sure, maybe statistically you deserve to be playing over him, but here's the reality. You didn't get drafted as high as them because you did something previously that wasn't good enough.
Right.
That person showed enough come draft time that he has potential and you didn't. Right. So tough luck, kid.
Yeah.
And you know, I never got disgruntled over it being a late round pick. I was just like, hey, this is the position I'm in. I have to work twice as hard as somebody else to get the opportunity, versus a guy who's a high round pick who's going to get way more opportunities and have a way bigger leash. And that's fine. I never took it personally or anything else. I took accountability of, this is my life and I'm in control of, you know, my success. And from there, even those years where I wasn't making any money, I didn't start making good money until probably 2014. So from 2010 to 2014, broke. And I was fine with it because
Yeah.
it's not like I cared to be rich or have all this money. I was like, look, I'm fine playing baseball, making no money, hoping that one day I hit it big and win, get the dream. But, until then, I'm fine with the circumstance.
Right. But you've always been good with, like, I remember when you were the second baseman on our team in Iowa, and dude, when you're on the roller coaster of performance, like a sport, like, dude, you really lean on your teammates around you to help, just keep your mind right. And one thing that you always helped me with was kind of acknowledging, like, dude, the past matters. We all want to say, like, oh, right now, moving forward, like, we can do and be whatever we want to be. And that's true to an extent. But you were always good at kind of ruthlessly being like, dude, it matters what happened this last 2 years. Like, maybe you didn't work as hard as somebody else, or maybe you had an injury, or maybe XYZ. And it's like, that's where I'm going with life's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
Your past can condemn you for a time. You can always overcome it.
Right.
And that's what, that's what it's all about. But
yeah,
to really get anywhere too, you just gotta love the process. Like, you gotta love the steps that you have to take to get somewhere. I think that's what separates people that actually achieve something and the people that kind of give up on the ride along the way. Because for me personally, like, I didn't come from parents that fully understood finance or were able to provide opportunities for me. I didn't come from any of that, but I understood that it was a process that I had to take to kind of grow and get to where I was trying to go. And that was the part that I kind of fell in love with. It was like, yeah, this sucks in the moment. You know what I mean? Like, you're in a situation, like, it sucks. You don't like it. You want to do better. But then you quickly understand, like, okay, I need to do these things to be better. And then when you start to love seeing the results of you actually putting the work in, things start to change for you. And then you start to see the success that you're looking for, and you start to achieve the goals that you aim for. And then everything kind of changes in that. Your mindset starts to change, for that matter.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to getting around the right people who can help you change that mindset and breed that different mindset. Because when you're around Debbie Downers or people not doing crap with their life and all this stuff, you're inevitably going to do that. How are you going to rise above all these people, telling you this thing, right? So for me, that's also why I don't really watch social media and other stuff, because I don't want my mind to be polluted by all the bull crap.
Right.
Because 99% of people talking on social media are stupid.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is.
Right.
They have no credibility. They've not done anything in life to deserve the views that they have in terms of what it is they're trying to preach. I see all these money guys talking about saving and making money. They've never run a business, and I'm like, instead of being mad that these guys have influence and views and whatever else, I just don't watch it because I'm just like, it makes me dumber watching it.
Yeah, right. Well, and that's how the market speaks for value. It's like, but that's what's out of hand is the value that people are putting out doesn't match the amount of attention they're able to get.
Yeah.
We were talking about this off air, like kind of the spectrum of kinds of people. And like, we were using like the hot topic people that are in the media right now, of like, obviously, like Andrew Tate, who's very polarizing, but he has a message, like he has an underlying message. So he's kind of in the middle, in my opinion. And then there's a guy that's like the Paul brothers, where they will say whatever it is that's controversial to get attention and get views, and it works. It's a marketing tactic.
Yeah.
And then you've got somebody like you that, you obviously have values that you stand for very strongly, but you've never made it a point to go and purposefully be polarizing by touching on the topics that are going to make people emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that, like, a big part of that is the fact that you don't consume it either. Like, you're not consuming the social media mush that that is that attention game. It's the attention game.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I think Patrick Bet-David, who I interviewed, had Tate on, and I haven't watched the whole interview yet, but I watched the first like couple hours, and he was talking about that concept of like, you got the Paul brothers who literally just will say anything for attention, and it reminds me of like in sports, guys like Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless. They have no opinion of anything.
Right.
They're literally just talking heads who, you know, they're just there to cause controversy and get views. That's what they do.
Exactly, man.
The Paul brothers are no different. And then, I think a guy like Andrew Tate, you know what he believes.
Yeah, right.
But he's actively seeking ways to, be known. And I think it's actually smart. I mean, I think that's where you should be if you're trying to, you have, the Grant Cardones, he does the same thing. Andrew Tate does the same thing. Donald Trump did the same thing, so it's like, if you want to be known, like you have to really voice these opinions from the mountaintop.
Right.
And that was something that I struggled with even before I started social media, because I remember a mentor told me way before Instagram or anything, he goes, "Hey, Ryan, you got to tell people about, your wins and what you're doing in business." And I'm like, dude, I don't want to be cocky and tell people I'm making this money flipping houses. And he's like, no, it's going to help not only your business, but it's going to help other people. And so I started saying, okay, I made $50,000 on this house. Here's how I did it. Right. And show it. And people are like, dude, this is great. And, it's got me to the point I'm at now. And that's fine. But at the end of the day too, the next level does require you to not be liked.
Right.
And that's just inevitably the next level.
Right.
And for me, I have to decide, am I willing to get to the next level, or do I want to stay where I'm at? And I guess for me, not that I agree with Andrew Tate and Donald Trump and Grant Cardone on every single thing they say, but I do agree that, hey, you got to let your opinions be known, and don't just say crap like the Paul brothers just to get attention, but like be very strong with your opinions and what matters.
Yeah. Like, and if you stand for something, who are you as a person if you're not willing to communicate those things proudly? And so it's like, you're not going to agree with what everyone says, but I think the culture we're in right now discourages people from sharing their opinions if they don't align with this.
You're not allowed to have an opinion if I don't agree with it.
Yeah, right. And it's like, man, what kind of future? I don't want my kids growing up in a place where they can't say how they feel about something, even if it's not popular, even if it's maniacal, how they feel about something. I think it's important to be able to share ideas.
But I also think that's like kind of why Donald Trump became the president and why Tate got so popular, is because, the left media wants to, basically make everything, super liberal with all the gay stuff, with all of the feminist stuff, all that, emasculating things.
Right.
Like, that's the agenda. And literally, I don't think there's anybody who would ever deny that.
Right.
And so, when you get guys like Trump or Tate speaking out against it and then they get banned,
Yeah.
like,
it's like, man.
Yeah. And it just is what it is. It's like, it's pretty much what's happening in the world.
Yeah. Well, and it's tyrannical, man. If you play this out over the future, like, it doesn't look great. But, I think at the same time, just like we mentioned in the last podcast about the market correcting itself, like guys like Trump and Tate come out and they're blowing up for a reason. They're blowing up because
there's a lot of people who agree with them.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of people who agree with their core principles.
Yeah.
And their social discomfort of like some of the controversial things they'll say.
Yeah.
Like Tate talking about womanizing and, the Trump grabber by the thing, that whole quote, like stuff like that. Of course, like we're all human, we make mistakes, but at the end of the day, like they're getting attention because they are a shining example of not being really terrorized and forced to submit to this obvious mainstream status quo of what's okay to say, what's not okay to say.
Right.
One of my favorite guys to look at that is somehow controversial because of his, like, some of the things that were in the media about him, but it's basically like if you take all of the core principles that make Andrew Tate a good person and a valuable mentor to young men, like take all the other stuff aside with like, the stuff he says to get attention, and you put the principles of build yourself up, focus on having a good circle of people of high value around you that are going to make you better, care about your impact on the world, and care about how your great grandfather worked his butt off to put you here right now, and live in a way that respects that. A really good guy that embodies all that stuff is Jordan Peterson. And so he's one of my favorite guys. Somehow he's become controversial, but I feel like everything he says is something that,
I mean, I know who he is. I don't watch his stuff, so I don't know a ton of like what his philosophies are, but
yeah, dude, if we could get him on here eventually, that'd be
yeah,
awesome. I won't be starstruck about very many people in the world, but Jordan Peterson is like just such a good human, man. He tries really.
I can get him on.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right.
Let's do it. He's a clinical psychologist.
Yeah. One of my guys works for him.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, man. He's responsible for shaping a lot of, not shaping, because as young men, like we have a lot of stuff inside of us that we don't really know how to direct at a young age. That's immaturity. And
right.
You know, you're like, oh, I feel all of this stuff, but I don't know how to act on it. And there aren't very many role models to look to anymore in terms of what we're shown in the media.
Well, and this is the part too where I guess for me why I started The Wealthy Way is that, you know, on one hand talking about these controversial guys, and you're highlighting the Tates of the world and stuff, and he's talking about womanizing and all that stuff, like whatever, right? Obviously, I don't believe in that,
right?
And I think that there needs to be other examples of business people that, you know, are doing the right things family wise, speaking out against things that aren't, you know, call it biblical,
right?
And other things too. It's like, look, what do I agree with on Tate? Like, hey, dude, you should be the provider of the family. Like you should, you know, be working hard, but you should also submit to your wife. That's also what the Bible talks about.
Right.
You know, you should, you know, love your children, care for your children, and take that very seriously. You should be, you know, this guy who's able to do all that stuff, and you got to build yourself up. And I think that goes back to the core of what we've been talking about today with work-life balance. Is like, look, we're all here as men trying to provide for our families and create a better, you know, situation for our kids going forward. We're trying to also, you know, have purpose in what we do, right? Like, I don't need to film podcast,
right?
Like, what's the point, right? The point is because of purpose of like, hey, if somebody reaches it to the end right now and they're hearing this and it changes their life, that's pretty good purpose for what I'm doing.
Right. Definitely. Well, and at that core, like earlier, what you said about when you have to try to break out of work and be present at home, how it's harder to be present with the kids. And you're like, it's less about all the responsibilities. You're not thinking about taking care of your employees and all the responsibilities in a negative way. You're thinking about how can I grow and be better and be greater, and not from a superficial standpoint, but like, how can I further my purpose in life to help other people? And at the core of what Andrew Tate's saying, and Donald Trump and Jordan Peterson, if you draw the Venn diagram on those guys to see what the core of it is that we all owe it to ourselves as human beings to explore our highest good.
Right.
And that means being very capable in a lot of different ways. And I see a world now where being capable is viewed as threatening to that whole like agenda that we talked about of, you know, emasculating men and even disempowering women to pursue a life that they feel, you know, is a calling. Because like, for instance, my wife, she's a daycare provider. She was, and now she's a stay-at-home mom. And that's like the new version of the unaccepted route for a woman. It's like, oh, what? You're just going to be a stay-at-home mom. You're not going to have a career. There's pressure on both sides, men, women. And it all ties back to the philosophy of, you know, what's fulfilling for you. We're in a world where freedom is important and a country where freedom is granted. And we owe it to ourselves to take the freedom individually, socially, to pursue the things that are most fulfilling to us in a way that helps us to become capable, even if it is threatening for people around us that might not have the same goals and values as we do. But yeah, man, I think it's important to kind of draw that hard line, especially with this podcast just starting out, of like, man, we're never going to shy away from the thing that's going to make us better.
Yeah.
You can learn from everybody.
Yep.
Doesn't mean you have to emulate everybody.
Yep. For sure. You can pick good and bad from everybody.
And if you ban them, you're basically saying, we don't want anyone to learn from this person.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you scared we're gonna emulate everything we see?
Yeah.
Like, no.
There will be some people, but
Some.
still, you know,
Yeah,
at the end of the day, like,
free market.
but let people think for themselves.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. But that's why I'm really excited about this podcast, to bring these topics to light, because I never get to talk about them on any other platform. And, you know, if you're listening and you appreciate these topics, definitely comment below, hit that like button, subscribe, do all of those things. As I said earlier too, you know, we got so many resources at Wealthy Way. It's all free. You go to wealthyway.com. You can get the planner, you can get the course, you can get everything completely free. We're going to be dropping a ton of other fire as time goes along. But yeah, I think that sums it up pretty good for work-life balance, you know, being a provider, and what it's like trying to deal with everything that's thrown our way with kids, wives.
And if anyone
employees.
has any cool ideas, I'm sure your listeners have a lot of cool ideas about what they do in their personal life for work-life balance.
Yeah.
Like, drop them in the comments, man. We'll talk about them next time, maybe.
Yeah, I'm with it. All right. Anyways, Wealth Builders, appreciate you guys for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next episode. Peace. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the Wealthy Way podcast. If you got value, there are two things I want you to do. The first is go to wealthyway.com and get access to all of our free stuff. You can download our courses for free. You can use the Wealthy Way planner for free. You can subscribe to our newsletter. All of it's free. It is such amazing value. I want you to go take advantage of that. The second thing is, if you could go to Apple and leave a 5-star review, or if you're watching this on YouTube and subscribe, that would be amazing. It would mean a lot to me. In fact, if you leave a review, I might just shout you out on the next episode, because we are reading those. So definitely check it out, and thanks for watching.